Hello and welcome to ETNOW Startup Central, India's first and only daily show dedicated to startups and entrepreneurship. I'm Chandra Srikanth, joining you live from India's startup capital, Bangalore. And Krishna, as always, we have a big exclusive voice on the channel here, just when it matters.
Absolutely. This is Krishna Kumar coming to you live from ETNOW's Mumbai studios. As Chandra said, we've got lots and a power-packed show lined up for you those next 20 minutes. First up, a check on all the headlines here at ETNOW Startup Central. After Flipkart last week, it's now the turn of Zomato to be marked down. Investor HSBC slashes the valuations by half. Is the gold rush in startups waning down? In a bid to strengthen its online presence, Titan has announced the acquisition of a majority stake in online jewelry store Carrot Lane for an all-cash deal. It's considered to be one of the most auspicious days in the year. There's no better time if one wants to embark on a new beginning or buy gold than the occasion of Akshaya Tritiya. E-tailers have cashed in on the opportunity to lure customers with massive discounts. If you're wondering what cockroach startups are, well, they are ones that can survive through tough times. Alok Bajpai, co-founder of travel platform, shares some tricks on how to build a cockroach startup.
Thanks for that, Krishna. And the big and exclusive voice we're really talking about is Info Edge's CFO. Why is he important today? Because Info Edge is the biggest investor in Zomato, which has seen a mega markdown in valuation by HSBC. Brokerage HSBC claims that Zomato should be valued at just about $500 million and not $1 billion. Now today, Zomato's co-founder and CEO Dipinder Goyal has hit back at HSBC in a rather detailed blog with reasons about why they are wrong in various aspects of their business. But to get more perspective and clarity on this, we're joined by Info Edge CFO Chintan Thakkar. So thank you so much for talking exclusively to ETNOW Startup Central. I want to start by asking you, as someone who owns 50% in Zomato, what's your first reaction to this report by HSBC, where its analyst has said that Zomato should be valued at a 50% discount to its $1 billion valuation?
Well, this is the first time HSBC has tried to cover us as a company, and I mean, with all due respect, it looks like that the depth of understanding that that should have been there to judge all the businesses, particularly Zomato, seems to be lacking there. So we don't think there is any truth over there. But well, it's a matter of opinion. So somebody thinks of a particular value, then they put out the report over there. But we are unperturbed by that because we can really counter that every point to point. More so for Zomato because they, in fact, I don't think that they have even visited or met Zomato management and sought their clarification on what their far-reaching conclusions are.
Mr. Thakkar, this is Krishna Kumar coming to you from ETNOW's Mumbai studios. In terms of numbers, revenues have been rising gradually, albeit, in the last 3 years, but operating losses have also spiked. For 2015, while operating revenues stood at around 97 crore rupees, operating losses spiked to 137 crore rupees. Simple question for me, do you think that is sustainable?
Well, that's why I said that I think we need to go a little deeper to understand what it is and try to really analyze it. So first of all, their revenue is just not going incrementally. I think it's kind of galloping, right? So it was in 2015, it kind of went up by 3x. I know last 6 to 9 months, kind of the way it's kind of going up, it's at least kind of double the revenue. So it's galloping. Secondly, the losses are there because they have been going into different markets. Now each market there is a gestation period. So if you have to really look at the profitability of Zomato, you need to look at the market by market. The markets where they have gone, let's say 2 years back, which they entered initially, like India, UAE, and there are some of them, even which they entered even in 2015. They have already at a country level, I think if my numbers are correct, at a country level there are about 8 countries where they are already profitable. Out of their old, their conventional advertisement model. So if you look at their growth that's happening in terms of they are going to different market, and if you look at the investment that's happening, you can't equate the investment that's happening by setting up a new units in different countries with the EBITDA losses. You need to really see all this slice and dice and see it separately.
Mr. Thakkar, one of the criticisms that the HSBC note has raised is that Zomato doesn't own its delivery network end-to-end. Parts of these are outsourced. Do you believe that it will help Zomato going forward if they scale up and build their own online delivery business as well?
Not at all. I think that's precisely the reason that we like Zomato and we like Dipender's line of thinking, and we kind of back him fully, is because we think that remaining asset light, remaining kind of with less kind of burn is much more advisable than the kind of some of the burn that we have seen in some of the Indian companies. We are totally not in line with that. And if you really look at good successful delivery companies globally, and there are some some of the good companies in Japan and some of the other territories, I think they are all companies who do not own logistics on their own, right? So we should always sharpen our focus on the areas where we can do a better job, and there is no need to have a logistics on our own. I think our unit economics are much better that way, and I think we should continue it that way.
I'm just going to move away from this, Mr. Thakkar, a little bit. The profitability or the lack of it in international operations is another concern that has been raised. Tell us, will the pain there continue, or will it come down over the next few quarters?
So if I look at even last year in between H1 and H2, and I know that the H2 full numbers are still not out, and it would not be right for me to really talk about it, but I can say very broadly that I think it has sharply come down. The burns have sharply come down from where they were earlier, and I think that trend will continue, because fundamentally we think that with whatever cash that we already have, we are in a position to go and make a break even internationally, and that's the goal that Dipender is running with, and so far it looks to us that he's well on track on that.
Mr. Thakkar, Info Edge currently holds about 50% in Zomato. You're still its biggest investor, but this has come down considerably from, say, the nearly 60% that you held a few years back. How's it going to pan out going forward? Will you look at further bringing down your stake, and also the reasons for the same?
Well, they already have money available with them, and if they are successfully able to reach break-even point without any further fundraise, and which we are really hopeful that they would be able to do, then we all the investors stay where they are, and then grow from the revenue.
Dipender Goyal in his blog has also spoken about how he has investor banking at current valuations, and that they will also put in more money if need be. Tell us, will you look at investing more into Zomato going forward?
So I'm saying that right now they have all the cash that they require, and are we backing Dipender and Zomato? Yes, certainly. We are not only backing, in fact we are very proud of what he has created, the kind of brand that he has created. This is probably the first Indian internet brand which has gone global. So it's just not that we are backing. We are very proud of them. And if there is any further need for any further expansion, as I say that we are backing, and we have sufficient cash to back them if required. And so is for the other investors, other investors as well. So I'm sure they are equally backing him.
Mr. Thakkar, Zomato has been hogging the limelight today on social media, pretty much everywhere. But, take us through how the other portfolio companies are faring within Info Edge, considering that HSBC note wasn't just about Zomato. They've also brought down the target price for Info Edge as well.
Well, Zomato is most talked about, but actually if you see that we have taken a much bigger bet in 99 acres, and there also we have done a very good job, because there was so much of competitive intensity which we saw in past 2 years time, but there are so many new players who came, and I think they are all now getting sidelined, and it's looked like that we are emerging as a clear winner If you look at our traffic share past 12 months, it's been kind of averaging 40 to 45%, and it's a significant growth in traffic share. While actually the 750 crore that we raised for 99 acres as a war chest, most of the money or almost all of that money is still lying with us. So we have preserved our capital, we have kept the war chest as is, and we have grown in terms of traffic share, in terms of our revenue. So I think we are cruising very well in 99 acres as well, and that's a much bigger bet for us.
All right, Mr. Thakkar, I have one last thing to ask you before we let you go. Actually, I want to read out a tweet by venture capitalist Mahesh Murthy, which he put out today. It said, Zomato took in 1,500 crore rupees to do 97 crore rupees sales at 137 crore rupee loss. A fixed deposit would have done better. Your counter.
Well, as I'm again saying that you need to have a good understanding of what they are doing. They have just entered in past 12 to 18 months 22 countries, out of which in 18 countries they are already traffic share leader. So obviously all that requires a lot more investment that has gone into it, and investment in a company, an internet company like Zomato goes through P&L, and that's why those losses that you are seeing it. There is a gestation period between when they go, they start their operation, and by the time they kind of start monetizing it, that's actually a period of 2 to 3 years kind of a gestation period. So you are not seeing that that revenue because they are in the midst of that gestation period. But what is really critical to see is that are they growing in traffic? Are they growing in their brand? Are they executing better? Are they innovating? And when you really look at all these questions, the answer is a thumping yes.
Mr. Thakkar, thank you so much for talking to us and on a day when it really mattered. Krishna, I guess what Mr. Thakkar should have also mentioned, and perhaps what Mahesh Murthy should have also heard, is that valuations are based on future profits and not past losses. So I really don't know how how much his tweet is really valid, that criticism. But what do we have next?
Well, in a bid to strengthen its online presence, Chandra, Titan has announced the acquisition of a majority stake in online jewelry store CaratLane.com for an all-cash deal. Interestingly, Tata Group Chairman Emeritus Ratan Tata has also invested in CaratLane's biggest rival Blackstone. While the nitty-gritty of the deal is still being worked out, Tiger Global will get an exit from the company. Bhaskar Bhat, Managing Director of Titan, spoke to ETNOW's Rahul Dayama on the drivers behind the deal and the synergies it will bring. Listen to that conversation.
It is quite obvious that we have to be more aggressive in the online space, and this acquisition gives us the leadership position in the offline as well as in the online space to begin with. Yes. CaratLane is the largest and perhaps the smartest player online in jewelry. The second thing is they are targeting a younger audience, and ticket sizes are low. So this gives us a strategic advantage. I wouldn't call it a bet. It is definitely an investment which will pay dividends in the future. Yeah.
So in terms of synergies that we would see going forward, they have close to 13, 14 offline stores as well. So, even for the brands that you have, I'm sure you would, the website and even the offline. So what sort of a synergy can we expect?
We will work with that team in a complementary manner. What we lack, they bring to the table, or what would take us time, they bring to the table, that team brings to the table. And it's a very talented team, very gifted team. For example, the technology of browsing and buying jewelry is of a superior kind in CaratLane, and continuously improving on that and making that the experience of browsing and buying is what makes a difference. Apart from what I said, a different target audience and a different ticket size and so on. And there is a back end to support all this, as well as a manufacturing. The second is the scale brings benefits to both in terms of buying. The third is our experience of putting up offline stores quickly and in remote parts of the country brings benefits to that company.
Smartwatches, it's been a few months now. In terms of response that you're seeing, I've spoken to a few people. And also, would you be launching more products in that space?
Yes. Second part of the question, yes. First part, we are happy with the response. As in, our sellout rates are very, very good, and the effectiveness, in the sense, the kind of money the tech players have put into promoting the smartwatch versus us, we are less than 1/3 of the kind of money the others have put, but we've got better sales than the others. So obviously, our marketing is working, and in a way, the competitive advantage we have is our network, which will continue. So the new products will also get the benefit of that. So we expect to do well and be able to access those customers who had, let's say, walked out of the watch category.
Certainly will be interesting to see how Titan shakes up the e-commerce space. But I just want to mention here one clarification. I think we mentioned Blackstone, but it's actually Bluestone, which is backed by Ratan Tata, and it's one of CaratLane's biggest rivals. So that's going to be an interesting contest going forward. But Krishna talks about CaratLane and Titan will of course bring us to Akshaya Tritiya today, because the online players, not just CaratLane and Bluestone, but also the marketplaces are dishing out discounts. Rahul has compiled, the most interesting offers online. Take a look.
Jewelry outlets in the country will see heightened activity as customers make a beeline to purchase gold. In fact, car dealers and property developers are also receiving massive bookings. While cash discounts and freebies are common at offline stores, this time the e-tailers have upped the ante with jaw-dropping offers. Online jewelry stores like Bluestone, CaratLane and Voyella are offering between 25% to 70% discounts, apart from free gold and silver coins on order purchases. Bluestone is also offering cashbacks and is giving away gold iPhones to lucky customers. But the e-commerce biggies known for hosting mega shopping festivals aren't far behind. Flipkart is offering up to 50% discounts on popular brands like Gitanjali, Ask Me and Maya, while Snapdeal is cashing in on the demand for homes by offering gold coins on bookings. Paytm, which is betting big on cashbacks, is giving up to 5,000 rupees in cashbacks on two-wheelers. So if you haven't shopped yet or want to make the most of these exciting offers, go ahead, as the discounts last only for a few days. Clearly, gold continues to be a very popular investment option for consumers, and no doubt, e-tailers are wooing them all out to shop on their platform this Akshaya Tritiya. With Rahul Dayama in Bengaluru, Ashwin Mohan, ETNOW, Mumbai.
And with that, it's time now for an ETNOW Startup Central special. As euphoria around funding dies down, cockroach startups are now the buzzword. They are the need of the hour, and investors want to place their bets on them. If you are wondering what a cockroach startup is, well, it's basically one that can survive through tough times. Interesting name, I must say. Alok Bajpai, co-founder of travel platform ixigo, shares some tricks on how to build a cockroach startup. He spoke at Unplugged startup conference hosted by Next Big What. Take a look.
The only thing money buys you is time, right? But it does not buy ability to execute. Ability to execute is more fundamental to the DNA of the team that you build, right? It's not about how much money you have, it's about how you actually use that money, right? And if you are small, even if you don't have money, you might come up with, actually, there's a higher probability you'll come up with more brilliant ideas, because you're forced into a corner than a team that actually has $100 million, because their temptation will be to throw money at problems. You can't force feed users a product that doesn't work. You can force feed it once, twice maybe, but they're not going to come back, right? It's very hard to bring users back when you have a product that is only halfway there, right? And for 90% of the companies, that's the case, right? I mean, in very few companies, if you have product market fit, you're growing organically like crazy. Then you are a Facebook, WhatsApp, Uber kind of company where you have that viral loop in place, and how many companies in the world actually have that, right? But if you're not there, you'd rather spend your time doing that. If you're hiring the right people, please get out of the way. They will actually be more productive if you do, right? Spend very little on marketing till the time you do not have organic growth, right? In fact, for apps, there's a good benchmark, right? If you don't have a 10% month-on-month growth at the small sort of phase that you are at, maybe at 10,000 users and stuff, then you haven't built anything fundamentally of value. Times have changed, right? Whenever we hired marketeers, we failed. Whenever we hired creative people, and many of these have engineering backgrounds, we succeeded, right? In today's world, marketing is about trying out new things, trying out new channels, trying out new product distribution strategies. And even if you're doing SEM and Facebook, doing it in an intelligent programmatic manner than just doing it the usual manual way, right? Which means you need a bunch of engineers as a part of your marketing team, right? People call them growth hackers, but I'm somewhat getting averse to the word because it's being misused. It's a mix of art and science, intuition and data, and you develop the intuition by talking to a lot of users, so keep doing that. Storytellers is what you need. You need people who can tell stories, right? Stories through content, through videos, through photos, people who can engage people, right? That's the kind of content that works. I think fundamental growth hack for all of you out there is just go and build that killer product which people will talk to each other about. It's the hardest bloody problem in the world. $1 billion of funding will not solve it, but understanding what the user wants and what the key drivers of adoption are will solve it, right? So that's where any of you can disrupt the large giants.
You know, Krishna, the first urge, at least I have when I see a cockroach, is to chase it down either with a broom or a chappal. But it's amazing how, I mean, that such buzzwords get created in the startup world, right? I mean, if you're a cockroach startup today, people are so excited about you. So I guess that's how it works.
Chandra, I don't know why this topic is following me around, because I just got pest control done at my home. You know, and I come to work and I'm still talking about cockroaches. I'll tell you what, I hate them as much as you can. You've got to give it to them because it's very difficult to get rid of them. You know, no matter what you do, no matter what pest control you do.
They can survive even a nuclear war, right?
Yeah, and I think the way valuation markdowns are going, Chandra, I guess that's the nuclear war that's facing startups at this point in time, and they will need to emerge out of it resilient and alive, more importantly. And that's the reason why cockroach startup is certainly a buzzword as far as Indian startup ecosystem is concerned. And with that, we wrap things up here on this edition of ETNOW Startup Central. Thank you so much for watching. Don't go anywhere. Keep watching ETNOW.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ETNOW, and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at ETNOW Live. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/ETNOW.